Welcome to today's custom-tailored deep dive. We are really thrilled you're joining us. Let's start with this paradox that, I mean, almost everyone listening has probably experienced at least once just this week.
Oh, absolutely. At least once.
Right. So you're online and you're looking at a potential opportunity. Maybe it's, new software for your business or a digital course or just a really major purchase.
Yeah, something with some stakes to it.
Exactly. And on paper, it looks incredible. I mean, the features are great, the reviews are stellar, the price is heavily discounted. But as your finger hovers over that buy button, something just feels strangely off.
Like a heavy feeling in your gut.
Yeah, the decision feels confusing, it's emotionally heavy, and you just walk away with this lingering sense of frustration.
It is a universally frustrating feeling. And today we are unpacking a really fascinating piece of research titled, Why So Many Online Decisions Don't Feel Right.
Which is such a great title because it hits the nail right on the head.
It really does. And the mission for this deep dive is to explore the hidden underlying dynamics of online decision-making. We're looking specifically at why navigating these choices has become such a massive struggle, particularly for individuals over the age of 55.
I think the natural assumption most people make, when they hit that wall of frustration, is to just blame themselves.
Right. They internalize it.
Yeah. You sit there and think, I must just be out of touch, or I'm just not tech savvy enough to understand how all this works. But the big reveal we're unpacking today shatters that entirely.
It shatters it completely. The core finding here is that this struggle has absolutely nothing to do with a lack of motivation, and it certainly has nothing to do with a lack of intelligence.
So it's not a personal failing at all.
Not even a little bit. People over 55 are not failing to grasp the digital landscape. The actual culprit is the environment itself.
The environment.
Yes. The modern online ecosystem is fundamentally engineered to prioritize pressure before understanding.
Pressure before understanding. Okay, to put that into perspective for you listening, just imagine being ushered into a completely pitch black room.
Ooh, okay, I like this.
All right, and the door just locks right behind you. Someone shoves this dense 50-page legally binding contract into your hands.
In the dark.
In the pitch black. And before your eyes can even adjust, a voice over a loudspeaker just blares, "You have exactly 60 seconds to sign this or the deal is gone forever," and the clock starts ticking.
That sounds like a nightmare.
It is. And in that scenario, your heart is pounding, you're totally stressed out, but you wouldn't walk out of that room thinking, man, I guess I'm just not smart enough to understand contracts.
No, of course not.
You would recognize that the environment was actively hostile to comprehension. You were set up to fail.
That is the perfect framework for what is actually happening on a neurological level when we browse the web. The digital environment is quite literally rigged against clear thought from the very moment you log on.
I do want to challenge that slightly, though,
Yep.
just to play devil's advocate for a second.
Sure, go for it.
Because on a structural level, we are constantly told that we live in the information age.
Right, the era of endless data.
Yeah, the entire premise of the internet was to democratize information. If I want to start a business today or buy a new piece of equipment, I don't just have one brochure. I have access to 10 different product reviews, 5 unboxing videos, and 3 expert blogs.
You have everything at your fingertips.
Exactly. So shouldn't having access to an infinite amount of information mean we are equipped to make objectively better, more informed decisions?
Well, in a theoretical vacuum, more information is absolutely empowering, but the human brain does not operate in a theoretical vacuum.
It has limits.
Exactly. It operates on a strict budget of cognitive load. When you are exposed to the sheer, unfiltered volume of data present in the online world, it doesn't really illuminate the right path.
What does it do instead?
It creates a dense cognitive fog.
A cognitive fog. Okay, let's break down the mechanics of that fog. What is actually happening in your brain when you try to read those 50 reviews and watch those 5 videos all at once?
It comes down to how our working memory processes information. The human brain can only hold a handful of variables in active thought at any given time.
Like, how many are we talking about?
Usually around 4 to 7 chunks of information.
Oh, wow. That is not very many.
It's really not. So when you are evaluating an online business venture, You aren't just looking at the price.
Right, you're looking at a million things.
Exactly. You're reading the terms of service, you're comparing the features to a competitor, you're trying to figure out if the reviews are written by bots or real people.
Which is a whole other job in itself.
Right. And you're mentally projecting how this new thing fits into your actual daily schedule. You are shoving 20 or 30 complex variables into a working memory that only has room for 5.
So the system just overloads. The brain literally cannot compute the data being thrown at it.
It hits a massive wall of decision fatigue. When your working memory is overwhelmed to that degree, your brain just stops trying to synthesize the information logically.
It just gives up.
Pretty much. It starts looking for the path of least resistance. It desperately wants an exit strategy from the discomfort of all that cognitive overload.
And I'm guessing that is exactly where the architecture of the internet really turns the screws.
Oh, absolutely.
Because right when you hit that state of decision fatigue, right when you are just drowning in tabs and comparisons, the website doesn't offer you a tool to organize your thoughts.
No, it certainly does not.
It offers you a ticking clock.
Yes. And this is the exact misalignment that causes that heavy sinking feeling in your gut we talked about at the start.
The pressure.
The digital ecosystem imposes a highly unnatural sequence. It demands a choice to click, to subscribe, to buy long before genuine understanding can actually be synthesized from all that information you just gathered.
So it's literally pressure first, understanding second.
Understanding is treated as a total afterthought.
That makes so much sense. So the discomfort you feel isn't actually confusion about the product itself.
No, not usually.
It's the friction of your brain's cognitive processing being violently interrupted by a demand for immediate action.
Precisely. Your brain needs time to assess the signal-to-noise ratio. It needs space to categorize what actually matters and what doesn't.
But the online environment strips that space away.
It completely removes it. It hands you a mountain of data and demands a verdict right this very second.
Let's explore how that demand is delivered. Because, marketers and platform designers, they are acutely aware of this cognitive fog.
They bank on it.
Yeah, they know your working memory is tapped out. And instead of clearing the fog, they weaponize it using urgency.
Urgency is the absolute linchpin of digital marketing. The research points to urgency as the primary driver of the emotional conflict we feel online.
Think about the specific design choices you encounter daily.
Right, like the artificial countdown timers ticking down in bright red text right at the top of a checkout page.
Or those fast-acting bonuses that supposedly vanish in, 10 minutes.
Exactly. Or banners screaming that there are only 2 seats left at this price.
The common narrative is that these are just, aggressive sales tactics, kind of akin to someone throwing a brick at your head and yelling, "Catch."
That's a very visceral image.
Well, you threw your hands up instinctively, right? Not because you actually wanted the brick, but because your nervous system just took over.
Yes, it's a reflex.
But I don't think it's actually that blunt online. Online urgency doesn't feel like a brick to the face. It feels much more subtle, almost like a magician's sleight of hand.
How do you mean?
Well, a magician works by distracting the logical part of your brain so you don't notice what they're actually doing with their hands.
Right, misdirection.
Exactly. Online, the countdown timers and the vanishing bonuses act as that distraction. They create this slow, creeping anxiety, this fear of missing out. Yeah. And they keep your analytical brain so preoccupied with the flashing numbers and the artificial scarcity that you completely forget to ask the most basic question.
Which is?
Do I actually need this thing?
That is an incredibly accurate way to look at the neurology of the situation. Those user interface tricks, the flashing red numbers, the progress bars, they are deliberately designed to bypass your prefrontal cortex.
The prefrontal cortex, that's the logical part, right?
Yes. That is the analytical, evaluating, logical center of your brain. It's where you ask questions like, does this fit my budget? And is this a trustworthy vendor?
So they want to short-circuit the prefrontal cortex entirely.
They want to bypass it completely and aim straight for the amygdala.
The amygdala. Okay, remind us what that does.
The amygdala is the emotional processing center. It governs your survival reflexes and your response to perceived threats.
Wow. So by manufacturing scarcity, digital marketers are essentially simulating a threat environment.
They are telling your amygdala that resources are running out.
They aren't asking for a thoughtful choice at all. They are demanding a reflex.
They want a reaction. plain and simple. And this brings us directly back to why the 55-plus demographic finds this environment particularly jarring.
Because they have different reflexes.
Well, we need to look at age not as a limitation here, but as a vast repository of data collection.
I love that. A repository of data.
Think about it. If you are over 55, you have spent more than 5 decades interacting in the physical world, building complex pattern recognition regarding trust and commerce.
You've learned how to read a room. You know how to evaluate a salesperson's body language.
Exactly.
And most importantly, you've learned that any major life decision requires you to sleep on it.
Yes. You have a deeply ingrained baseline that says caution keeps me safe.
Right. Like, in the physical world, if a car salesman locks the doors to the dealership and says, this price is only good for the next 3 minutes, your pattern recognition screams that it's a scam.
And you walk away
Immediately. But online, that exact same high-pressure tactic is just totally normalized.
It is the default state of doing business.
So it's a fundamental clash of operating systems. The flashing red numbers on the screen are actively manipulating your amygdala to act immediately, but your 55 years of pattern recognition are desperately trying to pull the emergency brake.
Yes. You are quite literally fighting your own biology and your own lived experience at the exact same time.
That sounds exhausting. And that internal war has to be the source of that strangely off feeling we started this conversation with.
It is. Your finger is hovering over the mouse, your heart rate is elevated because of the manufactured panic, but your intuition is throwing up massive red flags.
But we are so culturally conditioned to view that hesitation as a negative trait, though.
We really are.
The entire ethos of the startup world and the digital age is built on idioms like move fast and break things, or he who hesitates is lost.
Speed is worshipped.
Right. We treat pausing like a fatal flaw, a sign that you are just, too slow to keep up with the pace of modern innovation. But we need to flip that entirely on its head today.
We do. Because if we look at the mechanics of what we've just discussed, hesitation isn't a weakness at all.
The material we are analyzing today insists on a radical reframing of this concept, doesn't it?
It does. It argues that hesitation, especially in a digital context, is actually a profound form of wisdom.
I want to linger on that for a second. Reclaiming hesitation is a sign of intelligence rather than a symptom of confusion.
It's powerful, right? But it requires us to redefine what intelligence looks like in a high-speed environment.
So?
Well, the internet wants you to believe that intelligence is the ability to process 50 reviews and make a split-second purchase. But true cognitive intelligence is recognizing when an environment is hostile to your decision-making process.
Oh, that's brilliant.
When you look at a glowing Buy Now button and feel that internal friction, you are not failing a technology test.
You're passing an intuition test.
Exactly. You are passing an intuition test.
You are recognizing the sleight of hand. That friction is your pattern recognition, stepping in to say, hey, the prefrontal cortex has been locked out of this decision, and we need to pause until it comes back online.
Calm evaluation matters far more than speed, especially for big choices.
Yeah. By hesitating, you are insisting on creating the necessary space for grounded conversations about trust, caution, and clarity.
You are refusing to accept the sequence of pressure before understanding.
Taking that pause seems like the only logical defense mechanism.
Yeah.
I mean, the system is rigged to force speed, so the conscious choice to stop, close the laptop, and just walk away for 24 hours is an act of reclaiming your agency.
It totally neutralizes the amygdala trigger.
It breaks the spell.
Right. If you remove the urgency, the manufactured threat just disappears, and your analytical brain can actually assess the underlying value of the opportunity.
And this connects to something far broader than just avoiding bad purchases, doesn't it?
It does. It changes everything.
Because if we start utilizing that pause, if we actively lean into calm evaluation, it fundamentally shifts the trajectory of our online behavior.
It moves us away from what the research identifies as mere movement and toward meaningful direction.
Let's unpack that. Movement versus meaningful direction.
That distinction is crucial for anyone trying to build something online or even just trying to learn a new skill. The digital architecture is terrifyingly efficient at generating movement.
Movement being like the illusion of progress.
Yes. You spend 3 hours clicking through YouTube tutorials. You sign up for 4 different email newsletters.
You download a massive PDF workbook that you literally just leave sitting on your desktop.
We all have those. And then you buy a $27 introductory course. At the end of the day, your brain gives you a dopamine hit because you feel incredibly busy.
You feel productive.
But movement without a vector is just noise. The platforms are designed to keep you trapped in a cycle of micro-commitments.
Because that serves them right.
Exactly. They reward you with little bursts of dopamine for clicking and subscribing because your movement generates engagement metrics and ad revenue for them.
It's like the difference between running on a treadmill until your lungs burn versus packing a bag and actually hiking up a mountain.
Oh, that's a great analogy.
Both activities require an immense amount of physical effort. I mean, both of them will make you sweat. But the treadmill is engineered to keep you in the exact same spot no matter how fast you run.
Yep.
If you want to actually reach a new destination, you have to get off the machine.
The high-pressure online environment is a digital treadmill. By forcing quick, panic decisions through artificial urgency, it keeps you reacting to external stimuli rather than acting on internal goals.
You join the group or buy the software simply because the clock was ticking.
Right, not because it served a larger strategic purpose for your life.
And you cannot possibly determine if a major commitment actually fits your life if you are sprinting on a treadmill in a dark room.
No, you can't.
You have no map and you have no light to read it by.
Real sustainable success, whether that is launching a business, managing your investments, or just curating a healthy digital life, it requires decisions that genuinely align with your reality.
So meaningful direction requires a clear understanding of your destination and the deliberate time to plot a course.
Yes. So the pause isn't just about avoiding a scam. It's about reorienting your compass.
When you prioritize calm evaluation over speed, you step off the treadmill.
And your progress might look much slower to an outside observer. You aren't generating a flurry of clicks and downloads anymore.
But every single step you take is intentional.
You transition from a reactive state to a proactive state. You are moving toward clarity rather than just scrambling to alleviate the pressure of a ticking clock.
Let's bring all of these threads together for you, the listener. We've covered some significant psychological terrain today in this deep dive.
We really have.
We started by looking at that overwhelming, heavy feeling that so often accompanies digital choices. And the most important takeaway is recognizing that this confusion is not a personal failure.
Not at all.
The digital ecosystem is actively designed to overwhelm your working memory with information overload and then exploit that cognitive fog by demanding action before you have a chance to truly understand.
We examined the architecture of urgency, the countdown timers, the vanishing bonuses, and we unmasked them for what they really are.
They are not genuine reflections of scarcity.
No, they are sophisticated psychological levers meant to bypass your logical evaluation and trigger a panicked reflex in your amygdala.
And crucially, we have reframed your relationship with hesitation. If you have decades of lived experience, that internal friction you feel online is not a sign that you are lagging behind the times.
It is a powerful, highly calibrated protective instinct.
Yes, it is your hardwired wisdom begging you to pause, clear the fog, and turn the lights on before you sign the contract. Because embracing that calm evaluation is the only way to step off the exhausting treadmill of constant movement and begin walking in a meaningful direction that actually serves your life.
To wrap up our analysis, I want to leave you with one final paradigm shift to mull over.
Oh, I'm ready.
We've established that your hesitation online is a sign of deep wisdom, right? And that your ability to calmly evaluate is your greatest asset against manipulation.
Right.
So, what would happen if you changed the rules of engagement entirely? What if you actively started treating every manufactured urgent deadline you encounter online, every ticking red clock, every only 2 left in stock, warning not as a fleeting opportunity that you must seize, but as a bright red warning label explicitly telling you to walk away?
Oh, wow. Treating their manipulation tactics as your personal signal to hit the brakes.
Exactly. Use their own alarms against them.
I think that is an incredibly empowering way to navigate the web. The next time you find yourself shoved into that dark digital room, feeling the pressure of a ticking stopwatch and a complicated offer, just remember the mechanics we discussed today.
You don't have to play their game.
You don't have to sign a single thing. You always hold the power to simply walk out the door. Thank you for joining us on this custom-tailored deep dive. We wish you clarity, calm evaluation, and meaningful direction on your digital journey.